Good morning. My name is David Friedman, and I have the honor and privilege of being the president of the Earthquake Engineering Research Institute. As those of you who attended the 11th National Conference on Earthquake Engineering, you know we ran out of time and were not able to conduct the annual business meeting. So by way of this voiceover PowerPoint, I will give you a brief overview of the state of EERI. EERI's mission statement, simply put, is to reduce earthquake risk. We are glad that you all join us in this endeavor. Every year at the annual meeting, we recognize in memoriam those people who have passed during the last year. Since our last annual meeting, we have lost many members, colleagues, advocates, and most importantly, friends. I think I speak for us all when I say that we are all grateful for their contributions to our institute, profession, and world. I would ask you to stand in a moment of silence, but as you're listening to this, I think you will spend a moment thinking about these folks. For all of them, their memories are a blessing. EERI was founded by 16 charter members. For many years, EERI remained a small, exclusive organization of scientists and engineers with an individual membership. In 1973, EERI opened its doors to applications for all who had a serious commitment to earthquake engineering. The number of members jumped from 126 in 1973 to nearly 200 in 1 year later, 721 within 5 years, and today, nearly 3,000 members. Dedicated to the advancement of the science and practice of earthquake engineering and the solution of national earthquake engineering problems, EERI provides a vital forum for communication amongst a wide range of earthquake specialists. Pictured on this slide are our 2018 EERI Board of Directors. They are a fantastic group of folks. They dedicate a lot of time, and it is a pleasure to have them to work alongside. It is this point that I give you my president's report. I will make it very, very brief because we're in good shape. We're in good shape financially. We have a lot of very good strategic initiatives going on, and you will be hearing and reading about this in the Pulse as we go forward. But I couldn't be more pleased with the state of EERI, and particularly with the 1 year plus tenure of our esteemed executive director, Heidi Tremaine. Heidi's just done a spectacular job and in leading the organization forward. Separately, Lucy Arendt, our new secretary-treasurer, has recorded a brief financial report. The only thing I would highlight here is that we have a balanced budget and we had a clean audit. We had one of the cleanest audits I have ever seen in all of my experience working with nonprofits. The auditor had not one comment to make, and that's not only a tribute to Lucy, it is a tribute to Sonia, our esteemed controller.
Greetings, my name is Lucy Arendt. I am EERI's Secretary-Treasurer, and it is my great privilege to share with you EERI's 2018 Finance Report. First, let me tell you a little bit about how we go about managing EERI's budget and books. First, the Board of Directors Finance Committee, which consists of 4 board members, meets quarterly to review EERI's books and to query its staff. Second, the annual budget is reviewed and approved by the EERI Board each December for the upcoming calendar and fiscal year. The process whereby that budget is constructed and finally reviewed and approved is one that takes many months and takes into account what EERI is planning to achieve with respect to its strategic goals for the upcoming year. Third, the Finance Committee and staff meet regularly with investment managers. These are the folks who are responsible for overseeing EERI's very important endowment funds. And finally, and perhaps most importantly, strong internal controls over revenues and expenses have led to clean financial audits for many years, including this most recent one. Main sources of revenue: membership dues. This is, after all, a membership organization. Subscriptions to Earthquake Spectra. Think institutional subscriptions like with libraries. Meeting registrations, for example, this meeting. External grant programs. And then finally, our internal endowment programs. Main categories of expenses include personnel and contracted services, operations, including our office space, meetings, quarterly publishing of Earthquake Spectra, and of course our signature programs, perhaps most significantly Learning from Earthquakes, Hausner Fellows, and so on. All right, so what you see on this slide is a summary from 2017 of revenues and expenses. First, I want to direct your attention to the bottom right-hand corner, where you'll see that we are very nicely in the black at the end of 2017, with a net revenue of $255,000 over expenses. Of that, $211,000 was generated by EERI and $44,000 from the endowment. Some of the explanation for the surplus, well, at least one key explanation for the surplus, is our investment income. The endowment made $142,000 in investment income, and so as a result, it was able to support all of the programs that the EERI board had identified through its strategic planning process as critical to EERI, such as the School Earthquake Safety Initiative, our Public Policy and Advocacy Committee activities, Learning from Earthquakes, the LFE travel program, different activities undertaken by our young members, etc. And still, after all of that, have $44,000 remaining. EERI last year had fewer staff costs, a result of the transition from one executive director to the next and some turnover in staff. Spectra costs were down by $94,000 from the previous year as a result of being back to a normal publication load. Previously, we had doubled up in order to catch up on Q issue. We also raised the dues for the institutional subscriptions for Spectra, which again generated more revenue. And then also in 2017, the annual meeting broke even instead of what typically happens with the annual meeting, which is we sustain a loss of between $20,000 and $30,000. A summary of our endowment fund balance again shows that we are at $1.832 million in our fund balance. Now, what's the bottom line? What does that mean? It means essentially that with investment income, some grants, and donations from EERI, we are doing a terrific job of underwriting those programs that really matter to us and still managing to grow. For 2018, you'll see the budget here on this slide. Pretty straightforward, I think. Very typical budget distribution in terms of the different categories, in terms of revenues and expenses. You'll notice, of course, with meetings, that's higher because of the 11 NCE. Some of what I think is most important to mention will be the goals that the EERI board has set. One of them, for example, is to make Spectra sustainable. Now, what we mean by that is right now Spectra is funded largely through membership dues. And ideally what we'd like to see is Spectra standing on its own 2 feet, if you will, not needing to rely so extensively on membership dues. That would enable the EERI board to identify other strategic initiatives that those dues might be spent on. So that is one thing. Another has to do with our Learning from Earthquakes program. You know, of all the different initiatives that EERI undertakes, perhaps Spectra and LFE, or Learning from Earthquakes, are the two that most people, when they think about EERI, those are two programs that come to mind immediately. They are, in fact, among our most important. And the board has talked extensively about LFE. The LFE Executive Committee has talked extensively about how to ensure that going forward that program remains robustly funded, that when we need to respond to an event, when we want to do reconnaissance, that we have the funding that we need, while also taking into account the need to engage more fully young members and to ensure, as I said, that in the long run, this continues to be a key signature component of what it means to be EERI. Final slide. This is the slide where the folks who've made our current financial position possible are thanked, starting with Sonia Hollenbeck, EERI's controller. Thank goodness for Sonia. Sonia is the person who ensures that our budget aligns with our strategic priorities and initiatives, and also that expenses align with what is budgeted. Along with Sonia, the current financial position, the great financial position that we find ourselves in, can be attributed in part to Heidi Tremaine, EERI's current executive director, members of the EERI Board of Directors, both previous and current, board members serving on both the previous and current EERI Finance Committee, EERI staff members, Jay Berger, EERI's executive director from December 2009 through April 2017, and finally Janelle Maffei, EERI's secretary-treasurer from 2012 through 2017. Any organization's current financial status, of course, is not simply a function of decision-making occurring in the current fiscal year. It represents decision-making, thoughtfulness, care, and concern of people over many years preceding the current. And so, of course, we must thank all of these wonderful people for their due diligence and care taken with EERI's resources. Thanks very much for listening to this finance report. Hopefully all of your questions have been answered.
Membership report is very brief. Our numbers for 2018 are up. That usually is the case when there is a national or international conference. All membership organizations struggle, but we're still pleased with the momentum and the trajectory of our membership. We have had many active programs and activities in 2018 and will continue ahead, from Concrete Coalition, Confined Masonry, and lots of activities from LFE, our SESI initiative, the School Earthquake Safety Initiative, and we welcome all of the active participants, and member participation is appreciated and welcome in these efforts, so please continue to join us. Learning from earthquakes, as an example, is one of our most vibrant programs, and I'd like to highlight this program. LFE has been EERI's flagship earthquake reconnaissance program. This work has been at the core of EERI since its inception. Despite the longevity of our program, it remains active and is moving in new and exciting directions. We are developing new frameworks and surveys for conducting resilience reconnaissance over time. We are creating learning opportunities for our young professionals and students so they can get real field learning experience and training in regions with recent earthquakes. We are integrating your younger members into our response to earthquakes worldwide by using virtual earthquake response teams that are using creative ways to glean information remotely. We are making advancements in reconnaissance data collecting and sharing. It is a great time to be involved in LFE, and these new directions are opening pathways for more members to be active participants. Thank you to our committee chairs for their dedication and support of these important committees and programs. You see them listed on this slide. EERI has 14 regional chapters. They are always seeking your involvement and participation. EERI's list of student chapters grows every year. We are pleased to see so many vibrant chapters at universities across the U.S. and around the world. EERI annually recognizes and acknowledges the extraordinary accomplishments and innovative work by members of the earthquake engineering community. From graduate students to professionals who have dedicated their careers to earthquake risk reduction, these individuals have made important contributions to risk reduction, seismic safety, and earthquake risk mitigation and management. The awardees shown were presented at the 11th National Conference on Earthquake Engineering. They are all an absolutely outstanding group of award recipients. EERI annually recognizes and acknowledges the extraordinary accomplishments and innovative work by members of the earthquake engineering community, from graduate students to professionals who have dedicated their careers to earthquake risk reduction. These individuals have made important contributions to risk reduction, seismic safety, and earthquake risk mitigation and management. I'd also like to acknowledge and thank these three friends from the EERI board who are now retiring. After 1 year as president-elect, Mary Camario served as EERI president from 2015 to 2016 and just retired from the board this year after serving a final year as past president. She has been a thoughtful and proud leader of the Institute. She always brought great insight to discussions, and her passion for EERI will be missed on the board. Janelle Maffei just finished her term as EERI Secretary-Treasurer after 6 years of great service to the Institute. The Institute is in a very secure financial position with new budgeting processes and new safeguards set in place during her tenure. David Cox served 3 years on the board as a director, serving as vice president in 2017. David has brought a positive perspective to the board and also served as the tireless co-chair with Jim Malley for the 11th National Conference on Earthquake Engineering during his tenure. Thank you all, three of you, for your dedication and service to EERI, and personally for your friendship. John Stewart has served as the editor of Earthquake Spectra for 5 years. This position takes extraordinary effort, diligence, and timing. John has given the journal this and so much more. He has been an incredible steward and champion for Earthquake Spectra. In his tenure, John has been very proactive in making improvements to journal process that have led to reduced publication queue and an increase in the journal's impact factor. Earthquake Spectra's impact factor is now 2.9, which is the highest among earthquake engineering journals globally. In gratitude and in appreciation for his service to the Institute and profession, I am pleased to bring John to the stage, which I did do at the 11th National Conference, to thank him personally, and so everyone in the audience could as well. John did speak to thank the retiring Spectra editorial board members, Keith Porter, Paolo Lorenco, Mark Ashheim, Helen Crowley, and Errol Calkin. One of the primary ways that EERI achieves its mission of earthquake risk reduction is through the activities of our committees and programs. Today, I'd like to thank the following members who have recently finished their terms as chair of the following committees. Public Policy and Advocacy Committee, Laura Dwelly-Samant. Young Members Committee, Erica Fisher and Manny Hakamameshi. The Shaw Family Innovation Prize Committee, Stacy Bartoletti. Honors Committee, Stephanie Chang. Student Activities Committee, Terry Norton. I thanked all of them at the 11th National Conference. Their dedication to the Institute and to their committees has been profound. A key to risk reduction is local action. EERI's regional professional chapters serve as a mechanism for members to be involved in local activities and events. EERI currently has 14 regional chapters whose board work tirelessly to benefit the members in their region. Today, I'd like to thank the following chapter officers for their service. John Aho, President, Alaska Chapter, who has served the chapter for many decades since its founding as the first EERI regional chapter. Melvin Musan, Secretary, Treasurer, and past President, New Madrid. Ibi Al-Mufti, Director, Northern California. Jerry Brady, Director, Northern California. Jeff Bond, Director, Northern California. Rob Snow, Director, Utah. Because we can't thank them enough for their hard work, I'd like to recognize again the members of the EERI's Organizing Committee, another outstanding achievement of our member volunteers in cooperation with EERI's staff. Of course, the Organizing Committee did not act alone, and you can see from this list here a vast group of special session and technical topic chairs who reviewed papers and thoughtfully designed sessions to be of interest to you all. We'd also like to thank EERI's subscribing members pictured on these next several slides. Without their ongoing support, we would be nowhere. But they are tremendous to us at all levels, the diamond level, platinum level, gold level, silver level, and of course, all of our bronze level. Lastly, I would like to thank the EERI staff. They have been tremendous in this last year, led by our astute Executive Director, Heidi Tremaine, but a shout out to every single member of the staff because they are the ones that make EERI sing. Besides Heidi, Controller Sonia Hollenbach, Program Manager. Lastly, please join us in Vancouver, British Columbia for EERI's 2019 annual meeting from March 5th to March 8th. Thank you all, and thanks for listening this far.